Hello and welcome back into the ANZ HGC. Here we are for week number 2 with week 1 already well behind us and to start off with an absolute bang. Week number 2 is going to be no different in that department as well. And I'm sure we've got some fantastic games on display because over the next 4 weeks, we are going to find out exactly what 5 teams will be joining both Nomia, Crimson and the Outlaws in the ANZ HGC Premier League. Such a fantastic opportunity for these guys to feel not like the minor region we've been classed as for such a long time, but to hang with the big boys. And let's bring up that schedule to see how tonight's going to be playing out. All of these games are going to be best of 3, starting it off with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, or best of 1, I do stand corrected, best of 1, with Mickey Mouse Clubhouse up against Nekomimi. Both of these teams with a 4-0 in the league standing so far, looking to continue that momentum going on through to guarantee themselves that spot. Up next, Rich Gang, the newest sponsored team in the league. They are currently sitting 3-0 up against Quick Match Warriors, sitting at 2-all. We then have Darkside, the newly reformed Darkside, is still at that 4-0 with the newly organised roster of Downfall joining the mix of things. And they both sit at 4-0 as well. And to close out the night, Team Celery sitting at 0-3, hungry to get a win on the board with that donut. But they will have a challenge with roles unspecified at 1-3. Not going to be too satisfied with where they stand in the league so far. Definitely going to be a great game or great showing of Heroes of the Storm for you tonight. Now, as always, we have some casters in the mix. It's not just going to be myself. I'm taking a break from the mic. I get just to talk about stuff right here. So you can look at me. But no, obviously, to my left, to my right, wherever you're looking at, it's a bit jarring in this regard. I have Disco and Kerr and I have GL Phoenix. Lads, how are we feeling tonight, especially you, Disco?
Oh, you know what? I'm super excited, Skimmy, but I think I'm also a little bit nervous. This is such a massive year for Heroes of the Storm in the ANZ region, and everything we do counts from the casting desk through to the guys playing the game, through to the admin staff. It's such a big year. I'm just so excited, but I have to admit, I'm a little bit nervous for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Always nervous. And as we were saying just briefly off air, if you're not feeling nervous, you're not alive. Hunter, anything on your end, mate?
I'm really excited to be back. I mean, now I finally get to actually have camera on, so everyone can look forward to that, I guess, after being just a picture for most of this last couple of seasons. So that's a little bit of fun to bring to the new season. But yeah, it's very exciting to see all these teams just really going at it, really fighting hard for those top 5 spots and hopefully getting into the Premier League.
Well, gentlemen, let's focus our attention now onto the very first matchup of the night. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse up against Nekomimi. Bear in mind, viewers, it is being played on the live patch with now Blaze enabled. So that's going to show a bit of a shake-up, if you will, into the mix of how this meta can really evolve. We've seen the Shimada brothers, both Genji and Hanzo, be the priority in first pick and first ban rotations. For the most part, I'm sure, gentlemen, you have a lot to say about this first matchup. But if you yourself at home want your opinion heard, because we do a lot of talking, I'm sure, despite you wanting to be keyboard warriors, you can actually get your voice heard. So definitely get active, get on social media, go onto Twitter especially, and use the hashtag HGCANZ to have your tweet featured during the broadcast. Gentlemen, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, 3 members from the original Darksided squad. Vikarak once a part of that roster, and 2 members that actually went to BlizzCon. They took a break. They've come back. What do we make of this roster, and what do we make of their score so far?
Oh, it's a lineup, as you mentioned, it's got some very big names on it who have been around for quite some time and put up the performances that we know that they are a very solid team. So I'm very much expecting this to be one of the teams to at least take one of the top 3 spots out of this qualifier. I feel as though Rich Gang, Darksided, and the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse are 3 teams that I'm pretty certain about taking the top 3. And Nekomimi, they had a really good showing in the first week, going 4-0, but due to strength of schedule, they didn't really face the toughest of opposition. So this is probably going to be their first real potential hurdle throughout these qualifiers, and it will be very interesting to see how they come up against it.
Sure.
That's a really big point to highlight, that we've only actually experienced 4 rounds of their preseason so far. And you're 100% right. Nekomimi probably has had the easiest run so far in this tournament. So this is a moment for them tonight to really showcase what they've got, who they are, and if they could somehow come out on top. I mean, that's going to be a huge one up against this lineup. But you know what? Like you say, there's international experience on the other team and quite a veteran experience as well. So it's a tough game for them, but if they wanted to win any game this preseason, throw my pen on the ground, if they wanted to win any game this preseason, this is the game to win, to really tell the ANZ who they are.
Well, we did see the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse have, I mean, you could argue in the same degree, they had a bit of an easy run. Haven't really seen the powerhouses that are really going to contest that top three, as Hunter was mentioning. But the same could be said with Nekomimi. The biggest upset for me would have been when they beat Wolfpack, previously known as We Met at Bunnings. This is a roster which I actually claimed with Vandy had been around for such a long time. They are the all-star team when it comes to teams that stick outside of that top four. But no, they brought the pain. They brought some heat. This one's going to be a fantastic way to start off the night. And I'm sure the viewers at home are going to be getting themselves quite excited about it too. Speaking of Blaze, experience-wise from your end, how do you think that actually is going to start to shake up the meta, Disco?
Oh, gee, Blaze is such a, I call him a little bit of a powerhouse of a hero, right? He's got the strong self-sustain. He's got good wave clear. He's got a great ability to initiate into a team fight. He can escape, none of that matters. At the level 1, you can take the adrenaline stem, and it actually gives him increased movement speed as well. So there's so many nice things about Blaze that if you can't pick up a Sonya, something that you're generally comfortable with, Blaze does a really good job to sort of just fill in that role as well. And to top it off, he's got like a ton of health.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, it's just, you can just do things you can't do with other heroes. He just walks away. He's amazing. I think he's, I don't think he's going to be like overly impactful, but there's a place for him. You know, there's 100% a place for him if you can't get your Sonya, or maybe even something like a Dahaka. You can't get Sonya, you can't get Dahaka. Maybe you can't get Tyrael. Like, Blaze is there as a alternative going down that route.
Yeah, and to interject, it almost seems a bit like, especially with ANZ, we tend to be quite scared of new picks for the first couple of weeks. We try and feel things out. Yes, we have obviously experience in Quick Match and Hero League, but we tend to sort of sort of stick around it and stick to comfort picks. Would you argue that to be the case, Hunter?
Yeah, we are a little bit slow. We usually try it, or we usually wait and see how it comes around in some of the bigger regions, see how some of the top players in the world are utilizing some of these newer picks, and then we kind of get on the bus a little bit late. But I really would like to see some of these teams picking up the Blaze. As you were mentioning, Disco, he's kind of got a bit of everything. He can be a big frontline threat. He can, even if you want to put him on those side lanes, he can clear quite efficiently. He's kind of a jack of all trades. So, I'd really like to see some of these teams pick him up. But
the only trouble with that, GL, like they say, jack of all trades is a master of none. And that would probably be the only downfall of Blaze.
Exactly. Yeah, he can get kited a bit if you are able to keep him at a distance. And sure, he does have that very high HP pool, but that does leave him a little bit susceptible to a lot of the percentage-based damage of, say, like the Malthael, the Tychus, which is also making a bit more of a resurgence. So those are options that can be used to deal with him rather efficiently. We'll just have to wait and see.
That we will. Obviously, a lot to look forward to. And obviously, in the next coming patch, Maeve. Interesting, exciting announcement at that. A lot of people have been so damn frustrated for such a long time. I'm talking about people like Lahal with Chromies. That's the kind of analogy that we're going to go based off. But Genji, there's going to be that shutdown potential that Maeve does actually have, a timeable cocoon to some degree, and the ability to just to juke out with the Vault of Wardens. This is a hero that, especially in clumped up team fights, should be an absolute menace to deal with, Disco.
Yeah, it's a really funny one. You know, it's Maeve coming in. She's going to be really good against the Genji in the current meta. But we already see like Uther being paired up a little bit with Genji anyway. So there's a lot of opportunities when Maiev is going to go in that we're going to see the Uther really shine in to help keep Genji alive. You know, taking the Divine Shield, obviously, to keep Genji in the fight, to mess up any sort of CC Maeve was going to be doing. So there's that interesting play. It's like she's really good. She fits into the meta, but the current meta is also already lined up to respond to her. I mean, I guess you'd have to say it's probably one of the cleverest releases Blizzard had done for a while in that regards.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to cut you off there because it looks like we have a full lobby. So, guys, welcome back. HGC ANZ week number 2. We are ready to rock and roll. Disco, take it away.
All right, here we are, guys. Get excited. We have the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse versus Nekomimi, the game the game to win tonight. Nekomimi has to prove who they are in the region, and if they can do it against the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, it's guaranteed that they will be top 5. We're on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and it's going to be a thriller of a match. GL, what are we expecting here on Tomb of the Spider Queen?
Well, Tomb of the Spider Queen, as per usual, it's one of those, we've seen it so often here in ANZ. It's one of those maps that does favor the wave clear, but we've been seeing it in all the major regions. Though at the top of the draft, we're seeing the Greymane, the Genji, and the Hanzo. Those are some of the big targets that are getting banned away right off the bat. And we see it right there, the Greymane just so very solid at the high end of a draft, so versatile, and he just kind of does everything that you really want from a high draft pick.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of very early on, people were just removing Hanzo from play straight away, with no intention to play him. But now we've seen that kind of change a little bit over the current weeks of the HGC. Greymane being banned out first, allowing your team to pick up the Hanzo if the enemy team doesn't ban it out. If the enemy team doesn't, well, that gives you the option to maybe pick Genji really early on, or leave Genji there and take something that's going to counter the high mobility hero, and kind of go to the other team well, do you want to take Genji? So we can pick around it. Really interesting stuff. But right now, Nekomimi taking a long time to decide. Ooh, like this early ban Lucio.
Yeah, we were talking about the banning of potentially the Genji or the Hanzo, but because of the Greymane ban coming out from the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, it kind of put Nekomimi in one of those awkward situations. Do we ban one and let the opponents pick the other, or do we just go for something completely different, which is what they've done with the Lucio, and leave both on the table and force your opponent into making that decision for themselves? Which one of the two do we prioritize more? And it looks like Mickey Mouse Funhouse, Clubhouse, they're going to be going for the Hanzo, but that does leave open the Genji for the side of Nekomimi, which they could also pair up with potentially an Uther.
Yeah, and that would give them a good opportunity to dive onto that Hanzo in the line for Mickey Mouse Clubhouse as well. It's a really early pick in the draft, but get it now before you miss out, folks. It's a bargain sale, buy one, get the other one free if they choose to pick into it. Outside of that, is there really any other solid choices they could go here?
There we go. The Genji it's just too strong of a combo to give up, especially with what is on the table and what has been taken away. That Greymane is off the board, so the next highest priority DPS is going to be that Genji. And as you're mentioning, having that dive to threaten that Hanzo on the back line is going to be very important for Nekomimi to try and dismantle this composition. But the Morales and the Murden, the Morales is a little bit of a surprising one. I think it's more of a comfort coming out from the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, but the Murden still a very solid front-lining tank. It kind of does it all when it comes to being a frontliner. So a very solid pickup, and now we just have to wait and see how Nekomimi are going to respond with their next two picks.
Well, if we look at the situation with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, right now there's sort of only real wave clears, which is, it's hard to say Murden or Hanzo. That's their only sort of set of wave clear. So they need to be looking for that. This is something that Nekomimi could look at trying to ban out. What can we weaken on enemy teams so they can't get good wave clear, or they can get limited in that regard? So what have they got in that sense? I'm just trying to think of some really good wave clear heroes at the moment. There's still a lot on the board.
There's majors like the Gul'dan, the Kalthas, even the Jaina, which has been popping up more and more over the past couple of weeks. Those are options that are potentially go-tos for some of these teams. Because looking at both these teams, on the side of Nekomimi, Genji's not really there for the wave clear. You're there for the assassination potential. And on the other side, Hanzo at level 1, especially, his wave clear is not that great. You need to kind of talent into specific forms of wave clear before he can start really getting the ball rolling. And the Murden, as you mentioned, is probably, especially at level 1, going to be clearing those waves with those thunderclaps. But you have to wait and see, because as you mentioned, these teams need some wave clear. And for the map like Tomb of the Spider Queen, it does allow you to be much more proactive around the map.
Be thinking here is Tyrael has been pretty popular pick recently. Tyrael matched up with the Greymane. Obviously, Greymane doesn't exist. But do you think that we might see Mickey Mouse Clubhouse ban out Tyrael I was
Interesting.
about to say, Nubarak Tyrael, a Nubarak has the same potential as Tyrael in the fact that it can dive onto an enemy target, and comparing that with the Genji could be problematic. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse has removed that option. Don't know, Tyrael's still on the board. Could we possibly see some sort of judgment with the Genji onto the Morales or even the Hanzo?
Well, to be honest, either Heroic, if you were to pick up the Tyrael, would be fairly viable. Just send the Tyrael in forward, put down that Sanctification, and give the Genji or any other potential dive heroes just a free way in, like a beacon of safety that they can use to make their way to that back line. But as you mentioned, the Judgment could be an option as well. You really want to be targeting down that Lieutenant Morales, because if she's able to get out all her healing and is able to be safe, that is really, really quite obnoxious to deal with.
Look at that. Tyrael and Gul'dan picked up. You know, I was about to say another option that we could possibly see as well. It's a little bit of a change from what we see in China. Like, could you imagine, like, maybe Tyrael Genji and then pop in the Sonya takes leap, and then you could have Tyrael Judgment.
That is still within the realm of possibility, because on the side of Nekomimi, I feel as though their last pick will be left to that solo lane. It seems like they want to leave it to the end of the draft so they can potentially get a counter pick to try and have the advantage in those solo lanes, so they can use that power to leverage around the map. So very good draft coming out of Nekomimi so far. They've got power across the board, and we'll just have to wait and see how the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse do respond, because they have strong picks with the Hanzo and also the Muradin. The Morales hasn't been as prioritized as of late, especially with the amount of dive on the table. She still can be a very serviceable support, and we do have the Kel'Thas, and there it is, the Blaze. We were wanting to see it, and we get it in the first game of the evening.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That's looking really good there. What do you think about the Kel'Thas pickup? I know that obviously the damage it can go up by Kel'Thas is huge, and there's a lot of zoning potential on this map, as well as the hand-in points for the objective are quite tight. But we are looking at an opposition here that does have a Tyrael, does have a Genji, so they actually have options to get to that back line. But I don't know, what are your thoughts there? Is the Muradin and Blaze going to be enough to sort of protect the Kel'Thas on the back line, or even the Morales or the Hanzo? Is this? Sorry if I keep talking. Is this who do you want to go for, Genji? It's a smorgasbord of targets.
There are some very high value targets to take care of for that Genji, but we'll just have to see how or see if he's able to get to that back line, and just how defensive the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse will want to be playing this, or whether or not the Muradin and the Blaze, as you mentioned, will be able to help out with that back line. And it is going to be that Sonya, as you were alluding to earlier. She's just going to be that pretty much staple in the solo lane, and is going to be pretty strong and quite hard to deal with. And she should be able to get onto that back line and cause a little bit of chaos of her own.
Oh man, GL, I really, really hope it's a Tyrael Judgment Sonya Leap play. It would be amazing. I don't expect it. It's a bit dangerous, because obviously Sanctification against the Kel'Thas can knock out heaps of damage. That's probably what we'll see. But man, GL, mate, if there's Judgment and Leap, I will do a. I don't know.
You'll be very excited. We'll just leave it at that. That you'll be very excited. But that is a potential that they can go with if they feel as though that by the time that Heroics start coming around, that they will be needing those tools to get onto that back line, and that is an option to go with. We'll just have to wait and see as we're getting into the first game of the night. It is Nekomimi versus the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Both teams coming into this evening 4-0 and looking to keep that train rolling.
That's it. This is really going to separate a little bit of the top ladder shenanigans at the moment. The winner will walk away in a higher position than the both currently in equal sitting right now. After this, someone's going to be first and someone's going to be second.
Yeah, and to be honest, coming into the qualifiers, I was looking at the team list, and this Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, that was a list that I was looking at to be one of those top few. And this Nekomimi lineup, I was kind of on the fence about this team. I was looking at them maybe contesting for that 5th place. We'll just have to wait and see how they go over the course of this game and the rest of the qualifiers as they start to come up against some tougher and tougher opposition. But we are into the game. We are on the Tomb of the Spider Queen, and on the blue side, we have Nekomimi. We have Stump God on the Gul'dan. We have Mitzi on Genji, Freak Quality on the Uther, hashtag on Tyrael, and Touch Me is on the Sonya.
All right, and over on the right-hand side of the screen is the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse in red. We've got Moots on Lieutenant Morales. We have Demise is rocking out as the Muradin. Vicarak is on Blaze. Physics is on Sonya. And against time is the Kelthus. And here we are in the opening progression of the game. We've got the 5-man presentation in the middle, neither team being respondent to really go in there and get anything done. And we're just waiting to see the teams differentiate out here. Of course, we'll be looking for the 4-1 split GL, so the teams eventually will just pace out, and we'll have rotations going, probably from top to mid, and then Sonya meeting up with... Who do you think in the bottom lane? Will that be Blaze going down in the bottom lane to challenge Sonya?
It will most likely be the Blaze. The Muradin isn't necessarily the solo type of hero. You want him to be with the big 4-stack and just laying down some of that crowd control and setting up for the rest of the team. So the Blaze will have the wave clear to not so much win the lane, but at least contest against the Sonya and just essentially neutralize that lane until we start getting into the teamfight phase of this match. As you mentioned, it is just going to be that wave clear, just before just bouncing between mid and top, trying to just get as many gems early on to try and rush for that first turn in.
I really like Demise just a moment. Then he's sitting here. Look, he's doing his Muradin. He's tough. He's not going to die. He's the little iron or stone dwarf of Solitude. He's not going to die here. He's slowing down the rotations from Nekomimi. I think that's great play there. It's allowing his team time to push their waves, clean their lanes, clean up the waves, and it's actually pushing them out so they're slightly ahead. They're ahead in rotations, ahead in gems. They are just playing so well, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah, and as I was mentioning in the draft, this is the kind of map where the more proactive wave clear allows better position around the map. You can see how far forward the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse are playing. They're essentially playing on the Nekomimi side of the map in these lanes, and it's allowing them, as you mentioned, to be much more efficient with their rotations between the lanes. And we're seeing the amount of damage coming through from the members of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and the healing is just not able to keep up with the amount of damage coming through just yet.
Yeah, that's it. And look at it, they're already pushing into the top lane now. Top lane, the most highest priority lane here. It obviously has the boss in it, and that's what the team is looking to do. We're seeing Mickey Mouse Clubhouse trying to push top, get the value. Again, keep just slowing down the rotations. I love the way they're playing here. And Nekomimi is just responding. Completely playing the game that the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse wants them to play.
Yeah, and we're seeing that advantage just starting to stack up. We're seeing the towers start to fall on the side of Nekomimi. And the experience starting to go a little bit in favor of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And we're also starting to see the gem counter really start to go in favor of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. They're almost able to get their very first Web Weaver phase in their favor. And if they're able to get that reasonably soon, they could snowball that really, really well.
Yeah, that indeed. They just... I just don't know what Nekomimi are trying to achieve right now. I mean, it looks like they're just trying to keep up in the game right now.
Yeah.
Would you be looking at, like, if you're Nekomimi, are you looking to just keep things going? You haven't given up a lot just yet. Oh, hang on, in the top lane. Mitsu's going in. He's looking for a kill now. Couldn't quite connect onto anything there. I think this is what they got to do. They've got to try and punish that Demise a little bit, but he's such a hard little Muradin. It's a hard little dwarf. What's he going to do about it?
Yeah, he's a little bit... The mobility and also the durability is a little bit hard to really take advantage of, and yeah, we're starting to see the advantages start to stack up.
Oh, there it is! It's gone to the back line! They've killed the KT! That's a lot of damage done. Stump God, however, still has a bomb on him. Running around, has passed on Clarity. Reality turns around, stuns Demise. He's backed out. There's no one down on the side of Nekomimi. That's what they were looking for, but behind that, GL, the web weavers are coming up. They're only the first one, but look at the top and middle lane. They're both pushed in on the advantage right now to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah, it was a great kill to pick up on the side of Nekomimi just to try and get that experience back, but already having these web weavers coming in, and as you mentioned, the towers down on the top side is going to allow Mickey Mouse Clubhouse to just push in so much more aggressively. And you were mentioning before that this is the lane that you really want to get the most amount of push going in because of that boss later on in the game. It would be so much more devastating to deal with as Demise does go in, gets a stun down onto Stun God, but they're able to back away in time. But this is so much pressure, and throughout all of this, in the middle lane, this web weaver is just going completely uncontested, just allowing so much damage to go down onto these structures. And we're just looking at the experience lead is really starting to get a little bit out of hand.
This is free pressure, GL. This is free pressure. Genji's gone in. He's trying to get more damage against time. On Kenneth Morales there to help him out. You see Tyrael dive in, but again, no other follow-up, no damage against time. We'll walk away, but the mid lane's pushed in. The top lane's pushed in. Hey, GL, guess what? So is the bottom lane. Demise goes in. He stuns onto Hashtag. Hashtag doing a little bit of damage. No commitment. Vigrat comes in and drops the fire. He's burning up the house here, keeping it nice and warm. But just a little bit of disengage here. Demise kind of wants to go in, or at least he wants to appear like the team is still there putting on the pressure.
Yeah, and now we have heroics available for the side of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. They can afford to be incredibly aggressive, knowing that it's going to be quite some time before Nekomimi are even close to getting their own. It looks like the crack wants to go in onto Hashtag, doesn't land the stun, but this is just going to be more pressure coming in. This hard camp is going to be taken. This is just so much pressure coming into the side of Nekomimi. They're just, as you mentioned earlier, they're just struggling to keep up at this point.
Yeah, just early on, those slowed. It wasn't even that they had slow rotations, just Demise just slowed down them so much that it just pushed both their lanes down. It just spelled disaster from the word go. Level 11 has been picked up now for the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. They're already pushing into the gate now. You know, the next time the web weavers form in the favor of the Clubhouse, that lane's pushed in. That's basically a keep. That's 100% keep pressure right now. Ooh. Oh, GL, where are they going?
They're going straight to the boss. They still have enough time with the heroic advantage that they are able to take this boss with relative safety, but they have to be careful. They can't really underestimate the power of this lineup, but I feel as though they are pretty safe in taking this boss, and I think Nekomimi understanding that as well. But they do actually start to make their way in. They want to try and contest. The Hashtag is now onto the point. They don't have the heroics just yet. The Dragon Arrow does hit several members, and they're trying to contest it. It's just not going to be working out. They did manage to take out the Morales, but they lost 2 in the fight. They make that a 3rd, and this could be a 4th and even a 5th, as they do manage to get their heroics. The Dragon Blade is starting to slice through, but is not able to get anyone just yet. Against time is actually going to drop. So a nice couple of pickups there, as Mitzi's doing a decent amount of work, but throughout all of this, that boss is doing quite a bit of work on that top side. Thickerak is starting to slam him down with the help of Demise. He does have the reflect, but Mitzi is... Oh, he actually might be able to get out of this one. So he does manage to hold on to those 25 gems, but that was a lot lost on the side of Nekomimi.
Genji must be a part of the Frog Ninja School, because that slippery little devil managed to escape. Wow, I think Mitzi just then sort of brought this back a little bit for his team there. It's, I guess, making the best of a bad situation. Genji has pulled it back. The Bosch didn't quite achieve much in the top, but again, we now have an exposed keep, GL, and you know, the exposed keep is like an exposed root in the tooth, and that it's always there. It's always niggling on your mind, and you know what? Eventually, sooner or later, it's going to hurt. So, something they're going to have to keep in the back of their minds.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem. And another thing to note from that fight is that the amount of gems lost on the side of Nekomimi, they were sitting on about 70 to 75 gems prior to that fight, and they only managed to walk away with about 25. So that was a massive loss. It's going to really stunt their attempts at getting back into this game, whereas we still have a decent amount of gems on the side of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and they are pretty damn close to getting a turn in of them for themselves.
In fact, they have enough gems right now. I'm pretty sure they could just do a hand in while the Mercs are in the middle of the lane, putting on pressure against the blue team. They kind of detected this. They're putting on now. Blaze gone in. He's taken out Sonya. It's a buffet right now. Everyone on the blue team is on the menu. Demise and Vicarak slowly chase up, but they do return. Remembering that they do have gems they want to hand in. They don't want to throw away right now. Mind you, Demise is holding 27, that greeny little dwarf. So him himself is almost a turn in.
And there we go. We do have the red web weavers coming in, and as you mentioned, mid lane is exposed. The top lane keep is exposed as well, and this is going to be very hard for Nekomimi to deal with, especially being 2 levels down, the talent tier down, and still quite a bit away from getting those next talents.
Yeah, it's not a good situation for them. Like, they will probably not get level 13 during this fight, so they have to go in here with a disadvantage. They're now poising at the moment, looking for a target. Hashtag going on. Interesting thing, the Ethereal did actually take Judgment. So he's gone in there. Tom waiting for the terror from Gul'dan. No, they actually jet out. They escape. Mayback saves the day.
And the Dragon Blade and the Divine Shield was used in an attempt to take them down, and so that's 2 big heroics being used on the side of Nekomimi, and all that was used in response was the medevac. So that is incredibly advantageous for the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and they're just going to keep on moving in. They do use the Dragon's Arrow onto the 2 members, the 2 frontliners of Nekomimi. The Judgment goes in, but there's absolutely no follow-up, so that's both Tyrael and the Sonya down. They have exposed this core. They're just going to keep on moving in, and there's really not a hell of a lot that Nekomimi can do. The damage is going through so much as a great Flame Strike does a lot of damage to the squishy members. They're going to be able to take down Stump God. That's going to be 1 more, and with this core exposed, 4 down, this is going to be game disco.
This is it, GL. There is no way that Nekomimi can come back from this. Not in their wildest dreams. It looks like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse will continue to be on top of the ladder, now counting out an entire 5 straight wins in the preseason ANZ HGC. Wow, what a game. I mean, that just shows you the difference in experience and skill based on these both these teams here. Both high-end teams, GL, but at the end of the day, you just saw that the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse just has just those, let's call them the 3%, you know, the 3%ers. The 3% centers down pack that you need to do to win the games.
Yeah, and that's essentially what we saw throughout the entirety of that game. It was just control from essentially level 1. They had control of the waves, and then they were able to play so proactively throughout the entire game, and just never really gave a chance for Nekomimi to come in. They were able to pick up some kills here and there, but never were they able to translate that into any considerable advantage, or even just even a way back into the game. So it was just incredibly well done and very controlled coming out from the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And as you mentioned, they've got experience on their side, and that's exactly what we saw there. And very, very, very happy to see a team of this caliber still giving respect to their opponents and not giving up for a minute.
Yeah, it's just like, it's early on, we saw straight away. I think the highlight for me in this match was the use of Demise's use of Muradin. Like, he was just like, Muradin he's a sturdy character. He can dwarf toss out of a bad situation. He has quite a good health pool, and he can stun. So he's even got a good engage or initiation in that regards. The fact of the matter is that Demise knew that and used it to slow down the entire enemy team. Just his presence and being there slowed him down. He sat in between the middle and top lane on their side and went, "Yo, come at me, bro. What you gonna do? I'm Muradin. If you're about to kill me, I'm just gonna jet out." So you either waste time on Muradin and lose out on clearing your lane, or you just ignore him, and as you're walking past, he gets a cheeky stun on someone on the back line, and the rest of the team is there to respond. It was such good play by Demise on Muradin. I can't express how utterly impressed I am by that play.
I mean, he is a player that has been around for quite some time. He went to BlizzCon last year with Darksided, and it's kind of fitting for a player of his stature to exert so much pressure onto his opponent. So, yeah, very much a man befitting his skill.
That's it. And when we say stature, we are talking about Demise himself, who is quite tall. Of course, not Muradin, who is considered to be quite a short-statured hero in the Heroes of the Storm. I know, Skimmy, you're sitting over there. What do you think, good sir, about that game just then?
I mean, it's pretty much you've wrapped it up for me right there and then. I say it was kind of the result we were expecting, right? A powerhouse of ex-professionals, ex-BlizzCon attendees up against a brand new team, given their first true test of what it's like to be in that top 3 percentile, as you quoted. So we're going to jump to a quick 5-minute break, guys, to get ourselves ready for game number 2 of the night. These are best of ones. We got Disconcur and GeoPhoenix to bring you all the action all throughout the night. During the interval, do get active on social media. Share us your thoughts, your feelings. Get hydrated. Stay clean and healthy. Use the hashtag HGCANZ. And if Gamester retweet it, you will see yourself on TV. Your mum will be proud. We'll see you in 5.